In order to have the world run on 100% renewable energy, we need to build solar and wind farms fast, ridiculously fast. There's more than enough money being invested into this industry right now, and renewables make more financial sense than gas and coal. So, what is holding us back from building fast enough? Well, building solar farms or any large scale renewable project requires multiple companies, people, and investors to buy various parts of the project years before the ground is even broke. It's not as simple as a utility paying for a new solar project and then going and hiring a construction company to actually build it. In reality, the first investor might own the land. Then they may go hire an engineering team that files for approval from the utility and the ISO. And then another investor might actually come in and buy the project at that time and then source the actual equipment, which then introduces tax equity investors and banks, which pool money into this project right before even hiring the construction company, the specialized construction companies to break ground. And then finally, the utility options to buy or lease the actual system right before it turns on. This entire process takes a lot of time and is filled with what many people might see as inefficiencies. Today, I sat down with LevelTen Energy's Patrick Worrall to dissect how their new product, an asset marketplace for renewable projects, can help accelerate the grueling process engineering, procurement, and construction companies, or EPCs, have to go through in order to get a solar project energized. So, if you're new here, please consider liking the video in order to help get this out to more people that are fascinated in a 100% renewable energy future. And consider subscribing. It's entirely free and it really helps the channel out and lets us know that you want to see more content like this. So, with that being said, here's the interview. Enjoy. Hey, Patrick. It is awesome to have you on from LevelTen Energy. I hear there's a huge announcement for a new business line that you guys have announced over there. And you're the best person to ask about this new energy marketplace, energy asset marketplace. Why don't you share a little bit more about what you're leading up, a bit about your background, and what this energy asset marketplace might be all about?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Shwarnov, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here with you today. The asset marketplace. I've had the pleasure of being with LevelTen over the last 2 years, and have really been in charge of setting up this second major product suite for LevelTen, which is the asset marketplace. Basically, we're not building renewable energy projects fast enough. We really need to expedite the pace in order to reach the goals that are necessary to save the climate. And so to speed that up, LevelTen is initially started with the energy marketplace focused on PPAs, and has now moved to launch we're launching the asset marketplace to facilitate and organize the process by which developers move their projects through the development pipeline. Really, what Zillow did for real estate, LevelTen is asset marketplace will be doing for the renewable energy projects. This goes beyond just a single project or a few projects or a single year. This is the WD-40 for the renewable energy industry, and we'll continue to look for those frictions in the industry, and solve them.
So you guys are trying to fit into, I believe, then a component of what a lot of EPCs struggle with in solar, which is probably finding financiers or buyers of the assets that they're developing. Or are you guys addressing a different problem with this asset marketplace that isn't as clear to probably the common person who's looking from the outside at solar development?
Yeah, well, yeah, let me paint a picture for you. So a renewable energy project often transacts ownerships multiple times before it actually starts generating power. And different groups have different skill sets. Much like a relay race where the initial baton holder locates the land and entitles that land, and then they often get into the interconnection process, and then they will pass off the baton to a new owner. And that owner will then go out and do the design and engineering and will obtain the PPA and then ultimately get financing and possibly construct the project. And then it will pass off to another owner, pass that baton to another owner who will then be the longtime owner operator of that project as an independent power
Okay.
producer.
So if it's changing hands so many times, and obviously we've seen a huge growth in utility scale solar over the last decade or so, what was the pain that you guys saw that led Level 10 to believe that, hey, building a energy asset marketplace for wind and solar projects could help expedite that process? Or what is that key issue, problem, or insight that you guys discovered or you discovered when you started working at Level 10 that led you to believe that this is a opportunity worth exploring?
Well, to be fair, we didn't discover this at Level 10. Our customers asked us to launch the platform to solve their needs. As they were looking at, as capital came into the market and they were looking for opportunities to invest capital, they felt the need to have this platform. And so they actually a number of customers approached Level 10 and made the suggestion. At that point, our founder and the strategic team at Level 10, made the decision. Obviously, this is someplace where we want to be. And so I think that's a key. And I think Level 10 really embodies that in everything we do. We are a facilitator and an organizer for our customers. And so we look to them to guide us in our products, how we fashion those products and how we build those
And what
products.
makes it now the best time for a asset marketplace to come into the world when solar has operated, I believe, well till date? Obviously, customers are demanding it, which is why this product was built. What makes now the right time for a product like this to be introduced in?
Yeah, sure enough. As I opened up we're not building it fast enough. There's a lot of friction in the processes. I
Right.
talked about the baton passing, and that friction is what we're seeking to solve for the marketplace. And so, the asset marketplace is an off great growth of the energy marketplace. We have over 450 developers on the Level 10 platform. When a seller, lists an asset, that over 90% of the market is seeing their project in order to pass it on. And we provide the demand signals, the liquidity signals, and the transparency for that, for those project buyers and project sellers to be able to transact quicker. So we speed the process of moving projects from owner to owner, and that allows capacity at the front end for the early stage developers to then initiate new projects and bring them forward onto the platform.
So it really then sounds like something that basically you're utilizing software to scale something that would have taken months of networking, negotiations, and expediting that entire process by almost playing the broker role in an automated fashion. Is that a true understanding of the value prop that you guys are providing here?
Yeah, very, very much so. That the old way of doing things was basically to create a teaser and pass it around to your network of contacts. It's as if you listed your house by putting a sign out on the road that said "Buy my house," and that's all you did. Sure, people would see it, but most of the people that saw it didn't care, and the folks that were really interested in it wouldn't ever see it. And so that's what we bring to the table. And you said it exactly correctly, is that the technology that's underpinning our platform allows us to scale and provide that market access for both buyers and
Got it,
sellers.
got it, got it. So then your role in this is to lead this new asset marketplace. Is that correct? Could you dive into a bit about what your role is and how you've been involved in this project at Level 10?
Um, yes. So, I've been really from ground one. I came on board with the mandate to set this up. The team had decided that they were going to move forward with that. I've known Bryce Smith, the founder, for a very long time, and followed his. We both are in the energy industry, and followed his time through when he set up his founded his developer, and then as he passed that off to his partners and founded Level 10. And so I've been watching from afar for a long time. And when the opportunity approached, I would have been a fool not to have taken it. And it's been an exciting, innovative ride over the last year. I've spent my entire career in finance, and the last 15 years in energy finance, and I've been involved in running old school processes in basically everything from venture capital for poultry litter gasification all the way through to offshore wind project finance and securitizations for residential solar properties. So a strong background in transaction processing, but to be able to get into the tech world, which, and to really be able to use that knowledge of how it was done and make the future of how it should be done is has been very exciting for
Almost
me.
like you're automating the jobs that you've been doing in almost in the energy space for so many years. You're finding ways to automate it with software with the team at Level 10.
Yes, I mean we make that joke internally that every day we come to work trying to figure out how to how to eliminate our jobs. And that is exactly correct. Everything we do, we take a hard look at it and say, can we automate this? Can we make this better, faster, cheaper with
So what
software?
has that transition been like? Because looking at your background, obviously you coming from an investment banking world, obviously playing in solar, you must have built up a tax equity type of appetite and such. Obviously, I believe Sonova was the last place you worked. What's that transition been like
Mhm.
going from a predominantly financial driven or infrastructure finance kind of world into now more of a software tech world, which is still related and provides huge value from your experience, obviously, to build these brilliant products. But what has that transition been like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been, I don't know exactly how to say it, but I'm not that young, and to sort of all of a sudden be able to learn and educate myself on all these new technologies, just different software packages, and to be integrating those is feels very good. To be fair, residential solar, Sonova was very tech heavy, just because of the volume that
Right.
they were dealing with. And so it was a bit of a stair step when you're talking about individual projects, such as, offshore wind or a biomass plant. I mean, it was all spreadsheets and number crunching there, and at best, email. Our technology was
Got
Microsoft
it.
Office.
Okay. So you're now playing in a whole different realm of what software really can do. I mean, where do you guys see this, or where do you see this going? Since it seems like you're going to be heading up this energy asset marketplace, where do you see this evolving? Obviously, alluding to the fact that you're looking to automate out as many of your jobs as you can, so that you can work on even more creative and bigger problems. Where do you see this going? Does it stay as an energy asset marketplace? Is it going to turn into a massive developer? Where's Level 10 thinking about, and where are you thinking about taking this venture?
Well, the growth, the industry is relatively young. when you talk about the larger scheme of things. And so there is plenty of room to improve. The asset marketplace, as I said, is the second product suite of Level 10 Energy, and there are plenty of places that we can go. Whether I'm the person to do it or not, we will see. There's yeah, there was a report just out by Bloomberg that stated $300 billion of investment put into renewable energy. If you think about that from my standpoint, and you look at the baton passing, and that there's several opportunities at each step in each project, you can really, you see there's a lot of room in simply the asset marketplace and simply the segment that we're looking at. And then you look at Level 10 Energy. We are fully operational in Europe, and with the energy marketplace and the opportunity to expand geographically there. And then you just look at new products, extensions, et cetera. From a software standpoint, you can always add bells and whistles, and we'll continue to do that and improve the software experience. Ultimately, we will continue to go back to our customers, find out what's working, what's not working, what would make it better, and continue to improve that software.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, on that kind of a note, where do you kind of think? Because obviously policy is changing rapidly, and as you mentioned, we're in the early stages of something that's drastically going to be accelerating over the next decade, especially in energy. Just let alone in the U.S., if not even internationally, going on. How do you feel policy, for instance, the American Jobs Plan that Biden is trying to get through Congress? How do you see these ITCs, specifically the side of these policy changes that are going to help support renewable energy infrastructure development or electrification development? How do you see these different policies impact on the speed at which you guys can help get projects developed? Do you believe you guys have a role to play in making people aware as to how these different tax incentives or different pools of capital could help accelerate these projects? Or do you intend to stay back more and say, hey, we'll adapt based on how the market and environment is changing, rather than being more of a consultant in the process? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. The policy, and that's a good question on the policy side of things. I and Level 10 are very supportive of any policies that support the climate initiatives going forward. Ultimately, the policy is follows the reality that we need to make this transition to renewable energy, and we need to make it quickly, and we're not making it quickly. So while I don't think the policies, as we saw, in the past 4 years, that the policies didn't
Right.
slow it down, because everybody is starting to realize that it's a necessity, it's an existential threat. And so I think we are in many ways running parallel. That we are, we're an organizing function and and a facilitator of, of moving renewable energy projects from initiation all the way through to power generation and replacement of fossil fuels. And so I think, really we certainly keep a sharp eye out, and we certainly like what's being done right now. But ultimately, those policies will only marginally impact our business and our mission.
So you see policy more as the cherry on top. So if these incentives come, they may help accelerate the development marginally, development of more renewable energy projects marginally. But in reality, with or without it, the market has already decided we are going to build, and we're going to build as fast as our capital allows us. Is that a proper understanding of where you guys currently stand?
Yeah, I think that's true. What we've seen, the massive growth in corporate private purchases of renewable energy supporting the industry. I feel like that there is that the private sector, the public, has spoken, and then these policies are also, similar to us. They are simply facilitators of what needs to happen. We're the infrastructure. We're the renewable transaction infrastructure underpinning the process of getting from A to B, and the policy is also there to grease the skids as
Got it.
well. So I think we're really partners rather than a cherry on top or otherwise. I think it's really a parallel partnership.
See that's a good analogy to take home from there. So then I guess then the only last question I'd love to learn about from a founder's perspective or an investor's perspective, who's I guess marginally aware of what's going on when it comes to renewable energy infrastructure development and what you guys are doing. What's that one thing that people tend to misunderstand or not understand at all because they're not in the weeds actually building like you and the rest of the team at Level 10 are? What's that one big insight that you guys have developed that you think could be really eye-opening for founders and investors that may be watching this show today?
Well, I go back to what I said before: we listen to our customers. Ultimately, we're providing a software service to them, and they tell us where their pain points are, and what they need us to do, and then we've got the technology and the energy savvy, technology skills and energy savvy to be able to execute and provide those services for
Sure.
them.
So, what about the specific market, right? With the way the market is headed, is there a specific unique perspective that you guys have developed that you could only develop from actually financing projects or providing marketplace like services? Is there something like that that you think, hey, that's what unlocked a lot of the eye opening opportunities that we're looking into doing that we learned from our customers?
Yeah, from the asset marketplace standpoint, I really think it's the concept of multiple owners and the subject matter experts, the experts in certain facets, and then the incredible complexity of grid connected energy. There isn't. It's not as easy as simply building a solar farm and then lighting up a bunch of houses. There's a very complex grid there. I'm in Austin, and of course we saw that with the recent cold snap in Texas, and the complexity of actually managing that grid. And I think people need to realize all the different pieces that go into managing the grid, and how renewable energy is a very capable part of that, and can fully displace the fossil fuel industry, and indeed will very quickly, and is.
Awesome.
You read every day about the additional coal facilities that are being retired, and those aren't being retired because of a government mandate that they must be retired. They're being retired for economic reasons because they simply can't compete with renewable solar and wind and storage as a combining factor. And indeed, storage is a perfect example. It can do a lot of things a lot more efficiently than any gigantic legacy coal or gas plant.
So it's I guess then the complexity here that you guys really discovered is that the interconnection process isn't just filing some paperwork, submitting it, and then the grid says, great, let's power these 100 homes. And even to get to that stage where you're turning it on, there's so many buyers in the process, even though it might look like one entity is building the entire project. Are those the two things that most people tend to not see when solar farm developments might be happening or large scale infrastructure projects happen in general?
I think that is definitely the case. Is that you do have multiple buyers along the way, multiple buyers or multiple owners along the way, and that those parties pass off the projects from hand to hand. Very much in a supply chain. Ford doesn't build every component of their cars, and every piece of the solar project isn't developed necessarily by the same party. And I think that's a transition as the industry is becoming more mature. That's why we're in the perfect position right now to be launching this asset marketplace. We have all the developers on our platform, and those parties are now starting to specialize, and so you'll see a lot more of these transactions
Got
happen.
it, got it, got it. So, with that being said, I like to always ask every guest that comes onto the show one specific question. If you had to give a piece of advice, obviously you've had a brilliant career by the looks of it, and obviously now you're leading a project that's probably going to be one of the most impactful ones and is probably going to be spoken about over the next couple of years for the number of projects you guys have helped develop. What's that one thing from your experience, not only working at different companies in the space, but also leading teams and now leading a full product at Level 10 and working in a similar industry, but now more into the tech world? What is that one piece of career investment or personal advice that you wish you had when you were starting off that you think other founders or early on investors could use to help spur their growth and eventually get to a stage in their life where they're providing as much impact as you are now?
Yeah, I think one area that is very exciting about about renewable energy is the youth of the industry, and to focus on that, and then look for what's not being provided. I think that Level 10's, the brass ring that Bryce grabbed was providing this renewable transaction infrastructure to the players in the market, and really providing them that organizing function to allow them to move quicker and gain market access and gain market intelligence. And so I think that's really where the
So it's
opportunity
always be
resides.
looking for where there's an unmet need.
To paraphrase, yes.
Bang on. Awesome. So, Patrick, with that being said, if anyone wants to continue the conversation with you or anyone at Level 10 or wants to even learn more about what you guys have just launched, where can they connect with you or connect with the team at Level 10 so that they can learn more and follow this journey?
Well, certainly connect directly with me on any specific renewable projects that they're working on, and then otherwise easy enough to get to the Level 10 team through the website.
Awesome. And the best way to reach you, would you prefer reaching out on, are you most active on Twitter, LinkedIn, email? What do you prefer if people wanted to reach out regarding renewable energy projects?
LinkedIn's easy, or it was probably the easiest, but my email is always open. So Patrick.Worrall at level10energy.com.
Awesome. Alrighty, Patrick. It has been great having you on, and I wish you guys and the Level 10 team all the best in helping build out as many megawatts of projects as you possibly can.